On the behalf of the Society of Laparoscopic and Robotic Surgeons, I would like to welcome you to our panel discussion today entitled Shaping the Future of Healthcare, the Next Generation of Surgeons. I'm Dr. Raymond J. Lanzafame. I am the Executive Director and Chairman of the Society of Laparoscopic and Robotic Surgeons. As an organization that's been involved in minimally invasive and robotic surgery for now 31 years, what's our view of the current state of robotics surgery in healthcare today?
Robotic surgery has now been around, I think not many people realize, since 1999. So it's been around over 20 years and has really changed the landscape and the scope of minimally invasive surgery. In gynecology alone, the introduction of robotic surgery has shifted the majority of the major procedure that we perform in gynecology is hysterectomy. And just by introduction of the robots after gaining FDA approval for gynecology in 2005, now we went from the majority of hysterectomies being performed by an open procedure to now a laparoscopic procedure via either laparoscopy or robotic assisted laparoscopic surgery. Because the advent of robotic surgery has really allowed gynecologists to push the limits of minimally invasive surgery to include those really complex procedures that previously would be really difficult to perform laparoscopically or would have a high complication or conversion rate. So really, the robotic surgery has changed the landscape of minimally invasive surgery by allowing surgeons to push the limits of minimally invasive surgery to do more and more complex procedures, and really there's almost no limit to where we can take it with robotic surgery.
There's no question that the robotic surgical platform is quite enabling and has allowed surgeons to perform minimally invasive procedures. In fact, in many instances, leapfrogging the learning curve, if you will, going from learning standard surgical skills, which we'll talk about in a bit, to robotics or robot-assisted surgery as a next step. Rick, I think this next question is probably best directed to you. How does robotic assisted surgical education complement other surgical methods and approaches, particularly related to procedural steps, visualization, simulation, and anatomy?
Thank you very much, Ray, for the nice introduction and the opportunity to participate. As you know, I've been very much engaged with robotic surgery since its inception. And from the very beginning, one of our first realization was that the robot isn't a machine, that it's an information system. That is key because it's the only technology that will actually revolutionize healthcare as well as surgery specifically as we move into the digital age of the information age. And the reason that that's important is that it can integrate into the internet. It is a global instrument. It's not something that you can only have for your own operating room or your own hospital. Everything is connected. No other part of surgery does that, except perhaps some components of image-guided surgery. So because of that, it is actually a transition technology. We are now in the fourth generation, open, endoluminal, laparoscopic, and now robotic surgery. If one looks at the Gartner hype cycle, we have actually made past all of the barriers that a new technology would be challenged with. The inflated expectations, the trough of disillusionment, enlightenment, and finally the plateau of productivity. It means that it is now accepted as one of the standard methodologies that surgeons use in patient care. The next generation, as I mentioned, is going to be directed energy or non-invasive surgery. There is no question in my mind when one looks at the broad sweep of healthcare, or even broader, looking at where technology is going in the future in the next 20 to 50 years. You have to be connected to the internet, and the robot is the only system at this moment that does that. So that is kind of a sweeping concept of where we are now. We are stable. We are accepted with well over 1 million procedures performed globally, with over 7,000 robots worldwide. And so that is an accepted standard procedure. Just because it has not been disseminated or used by everyone doesn't mean that it's not going to be the current status that we have now. And then the second issue that I mentioned is it is a transition technology. There is something after robotic surgery that we are trying to figure out. Thank you for the opportunity to make the comment.
Thank you, Rick. And that's particularly seminal since your vision and leadership and thoughtful funding is lion's share responsible for what we know today as robotic assisted surgery. The next question is a broader question. How does robotic assisted surgery impact residents and fellows in training and into their careers?
Well, I think among other things, in order to be competitive in the marketplace, as it were, people are going to have to be very much attuned to robotics and all of the other things that are going on in the marketplace. I would like to second Mona's comments on the enabling function of robotics. That is to say, allowing people to do surgery in minimally invasive atmosphere with wherein they would not be able to accomplish the same operation with conventional instrumentation, conventional meaning genuine laparoscopic surgery. The hysterectomy story is a very important one because so many people are being offered that type of surgery with robotics when the surgeons involved would essentially be unable to do the operation.
The current challenge for the residency programs of residents are to supply the breadth of training necessary for the current landscape. So it used to be just open and laparoscopic, as well as endoluminal surgery that we would do, but now we're adding in another platform, robotic. And so many of the challenges are if we do too much laparoscopic, then residents don't get open operations. If we do too much robotic, they don't get enough laparoscopic operations. And so we have to figure out a way to balance all the training so that the current surgeons can do all of these. And so we're seeing a shift, I think, with the residency programs that most of the residents are going into fellowship programs now because they need to focus on a specific platform that they are inadequate in, or a specific subcategory of operations. I'm seeing different levels of robotic capabilities when residents come out of training, to the point where some can only dock, some can operate, but some aren't completely safe with the operations yet. And so they can completely do these operations in an open fashion, laparoscopic fashion, and the next challenge is making it so that they can do it robotically as well, just as proficiently as laparoscopic or open. And so that's what the current challenge I see for the residents coming out is being able to do all these different levels of sophistication with open, laparoscopic, endoluminal, and robotic platforms.
That's actually you raise an excellent point. as a surgical resident and then junior faculty in the last century, one of the mantras was providing, quote, an equivalent experience for residents. And so during that time frame, a number of surgical programs coalesced in an effort to try and homogenize, if you will, the educational experience of the individual resident, but in learning pursuits. But as a fellowship trained surgeon, you're part of a growing network of individuals who have seen the need to seek additional training and develop that experience and expertise. And as a fellowship director, imparting that on the next generation.
Well, I'd like to make a comment on behalf of SLS and as the upcoming president. I've been part of SLS and on the board for a decade now, and I think SLS will play a big role in terms of continuing to bring these issues to the forefront, as well as continuing to educate residents, fellows, and surgeons in upcoming technology and in terms of what will be the future of surgery, as well as in the current state of surgery, and continuing to advance our skill sets, our mentorship, our proctorship, our insight, and all of the things that we've been discussing today.
Thank you, Mona. And on the behalf of the Society of Laparoscopic and Robotic Surgeons, I would like to thank our panelists for their thoughtful discussion, and thank you for your attention in participating in this program.